The world crumbled. Cities exploded. A whirlwind of looting. A firestorm of fear. Men began to feed on men. On the roads it was a white-line nightmare. Only those mobile enough to scavenge, brutal enough to pillage would survive. The gangs took over the highways, ready to wage war for a tank of juice. And in this maelstrom of decay, ordinary men were battered and smashed. Men like Max, the warrior Max. In the war of an engine he lost everything and became a shell of a man. A burnt-out, desolate man. A man haunted by the demons of his past. A man who wandered out into the wasteland. And it was here, in this blighted place, that he learned to live again.
Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez, and you're in a new episode of Action Reaction, in which I give my reaction to an action movie. And today, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest action film sequels. Maybe, in fact, one of the greatest action films ever made. The Road Warrior, aka Mad Max 2. I prefer one or the other. I don't like calling it Mad Max 2 The Road Warrior because it's just kind of stupid. It's either Mad Max 2 or The Road Warrior. Basically, it's Mad Max 2. Mad Max stars Mel Gibson as Max, Bruce Spence as the Gyro Captain, Michael Preston as Pappagallo, Vernon Wells as Wes, Emil Minty as the Feral Kid, and Virginia Hay as Warrior Woman. It's directed by George Miller, and Brian May returns as composer. So basically, why is it called The Road Warrior? Well, Mad Max only had a limited release in the United States, and instead of releasing Mad Max 2, which is the title of the film, they thought it would confuse viewers, so they basically changed the title and called it The Road Warrior. So a lot of people were actually introduced to Mad Max, the world of Mad Max, in The Road Warrior. Very few remember Mad Max, the original, when it first came out, and then it was kind of like discovered later, and more so for younger viewers like myself. But Road Warrior is a great introduction, and it's very different from the original Mad Max. This is the first one to go completely in the post-apocalyptic era. The first one is on the verge of like the post-apocalyptic. It's an aftermath of like the verge of the apocalypse, but Road Warrior really is the whole aftermath of the collapse of infrastructure in countries the way we know it today. It's a collapse of our world. It's a start of the world after the apocalypse. So I'm going to give a brief synopsis and why I think it's a worthy action film and my reaction towards the film. It's one of my favorite movies, so here we go. Brief synopsis. So the film stars Mel Gibson as the warrior Max. It's pretty much 5 years after Mad Max, and it's a great scene. It has the ending of Mad Max 1, a recap of what happened, and then it zooms out, and now we're introduced to Max as the Road Warrior. And Max, he's pretty much burnt out at this point, in this white line nightmare, in the maelstrom of decay, and he's looking for gasoline. He has to fight off people trying to attack him at the beginning of the film. And throughout his journey for gasoline, he meets this character of the Gyro Captain, played by Bruce Spence. And he tells him about this gasoline refinery. He says, "Spare my life and I can take you to where the gasoline is. Kajon, kajon, kajon." Thousands of it. And they go to this gasoline refinery, and Max decides to help the small community of villagers within the refinery. They have it as a base, and they have to stop this gang of people led by Lord Humongous. Pretty much Bane in a hockey mask. Bane and Humongous really are quite alike. I always think of Lord Humongous every time I see Bane, and it's weird because Tom Hardy's Mad Max and Fury Road. But Max has to help these group of people and fight off Lord Humongous, and that's pretty much the film. He's kind of reluctant to do it. He doesn't want anything to do with people. He actually doesn't want to help them originally. But then through the course of the film, certain things happen, and he does help the small villagers, and ultimately ends in one of the most climatic, amazingly shot car chases ever on film. The ending car chase of this is just amazing. And that's pretty much The Road Warrior right there in the kind of a nutshell. I didn't really go over it fully, and it was kind of choppy, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Things about this film. Mel Gibson is amazing, again, as Max Rockatansky, and he only has 16 lines of dialogue in the film. But he's able to emote a lot, and he's just that quiet kind of like man with no name. Say what you will, this takes a lot from the Western genre. It's kind of like the Dollars trilogy. He's like the Clint Eastwood character, as a man with no name, going from village to village, town to town, and just wandering the world, and then coming across groups of people in his journeys. And you could also tell that Desperado kind of had a little bit of a Western influence, kind of like this film, as far as like character going through something in the first, becoming something, and then he's that person in the sequel. And you can watch the first one, and the second Mad Max would be just great, but you could actually just watch this one. And that's a great thing about this film. As a sequel, you don't even have to watch the other one to understand it. You're introduced to this world the way it is for the rest of the film series and this film. They go over it in the beginning with the flashbacks, but you really can just jump right in, and immediately the action just starts from the opening shot of the car chase is trying to get Max, from the very end. It's a non-stop action thriller. George Miller really outdoes himself here, and Terry Hayes, along with the story, it's very different from the other one. It's not about toe cut or anything, and the stakes are just much higher. Everything's bigger and badder. The car chases are more furious. Just everything with the action, and it's really cool seeing this post-apocalyptic world. We're introduced to like the consequences of the world in the first Mad Max, and it's very different and really influenced a lot of the post-apocalyptic films to come afterwards, including Fury Road. They're both very different, but in my opinion, this is still probably the best out of the 4 Mad Max films. It's just everything you want in a movie. And they actually used real stunt people for this. I mean, stunt people got injured and killed. Like, it was all real, and that's just amazing. I can't even imagine somebody trying to do all the stunts they're doing in this film for real nowadays. It is just incredible and quite daunting. The feral kid's cool with the boomerang and stuff, and then Wes. Yeah, you may remember Wes in Weird Science. I always think, yeah, that's the dude from Road Warrior. But, yeah, the action is just fantastic. Apocalypse Pow, it says on the cover. Exhilarating entertainment. And this is crazy to see Mel Gibson, not only in his prime, but before he played Martin Riggs. And this is, like, right after Mad Max. 1980s kick in, and it's very different. Tanker chase, that whole ending is just amazing. One continuous chase. The characters, his relationship with the gyro captain, him not wanting to help people and then deciding to help, just different stuff like that, and it does everything a sequel should do. It's one of my favorite movie sequels. It goes there with Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Godfather 2. Like, this is one of the best second films ever, and one of the best action films that inspired a genre and just totally shaped the way a genre would be. Films like Doomsday or Resident Evil Extinction. Hell, Mad Max Fury Road would not exist without the previous 3 Mad Maxes or the success of Mad Max 2 / The Road Warrior. And I love how the clothing and everything is just used from the old world. You see Max's leather jacket, and he has like a football shield on it now. His leg braces there. There's good attention to continuity. You see him aged a bit more with his gray hair. And how everyone's just lost something is, and the small community is clinging on to hope. And you see how like others around have taken advantage of this commodity of gasoline. And before water became an issue, it really is a good statement on like our need for gasoline, the power of gasoline as a commodity, and what it does in a society and to individuals. And it's really cool seeing that play out in this film. Road Warrior is one of those films where I could totally see us be in a world like this. I don't want to be in a world like this, but this could also be a survival training guide. It's just fantastic. Yeah, James Cameron even cited this film as one of his inspirations for Terminator. The action's great with cars, real cars. And speaking of the Interceptor, after the first Mad Max, they went and destroyed all the vehicles, and somebody thought that V8 Interceptor's too good to give up. So they sold it. Well, anyways, somebody, I guess, when they're starting production of the Road Warrior Mad Max 2, got word that it was still around, and they used the same V8 Interceptor from the first film, which is really cool. Although they destroy it. It's kind of like Dark Knight where the Batmobile gets destroyed. But yeah, overall, it is just a fantastic film. I mean, this is just a hit in the face, and on Blu-ray in high definition, it is a threat to the eye. It's refreshing to see everything so real, but also the stunts and everything being real. It's one thing filming things realistically, but there hasn't really been a film quite like it. There's been other movies that have tried to imitate Road Warrior, but it's just one of those films that's just, it's at the golden standard for the genre it's in for post-apocalyptic films, and there hasn't been anything quite like this. I think the only other film I would say that could rival this would be Mad Max Fury Road, and that's within the same series. George Miller does such a great job, and it's crazy. It's just before Lorenzo Zoil. It's before he co-directed Thunderdome, Mad Max Fury Road, Babe, Pig in the City. This is a long time before, and he really improves upon everything from Mad Max. I think Mad Max is a very underrated and great action film, but if any criticisms were to be had with the film, they're fixed with this one. I mean, it just does everything a sequel should do. Expands the story, the characters, has everything faster, better, bigger, badder, and it's just perfect in that regard. It just improves upon Mad Max in every single way possible. And it's very rare to see a sequel do that, and it's very rare to see an action film be as good as this is. So if I had to give Road Warrior a score, of course I would give it a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, and an A+. And I really like to see Bruce Spence in this. I mean, you get to see him as a gyro captain. He's also the pilot in Beyond Thunderdome, but it's nice seeing him as a gyro captain. His humor. It's nice having Max have somebody new to me to tag along. I like the stuff between Mel Gibson and Bruce Spence. And it's very strange before you see him as the Train Man in Matrix, or even Zedekiah Zulzarander in Legend of the Seeker. It's very cool seeing Bruce Spence in an early role of his. Virginia Hayesgood, Papagello, he's pretty much like the regular leader. The Feral Kid's really cool, and I thought it was such a great twist to find out that that's the old man's who was narrating the movie was a Feral Kid. Great stuff there, and the whole twist at the end with the tanker. Just all around great stuff. I mean, I want to go into this much more, but what can I say? It's an awesome action film, and that is my reaction to the action of The Road Warrior. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, and an A+. All that remains is my memories of The Road Warrior. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out already, check out The Road Warrior, Mad Max 2. If you've just seen Fury Road, check out the original trilogy. And if you've seen the first and third but haven't, see this film again, whether you've seen it or not. Trust me, you're going to be in for a great treat. And it's one of the best action films. I mean, Fallout would never exist without this film. There's just so much stuff in pulp culture and everything that this film has influenced in the post-apocalyptic genre. And that's all I can really say. Yeah, that's my review and just quick little thoughts over The Road Warrior. It's very well shot, nice in real locations, the acting's great, just everything is perfect, and it's only 95 minutes, so you get everything quick. Nothing is there too long. Nothing has really felt like it's unanswered. Everything is just there where it needs to be, and it's great to see an action film and just a film have that feeling. That's my review of The Road Warrior. Stay tuned for the next action reaction, in which I reviewed the 1994 classic Speed, starring Keanu Reeves. Pop quiz, hot shots. When I review Speed, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So that's all there. I love Mel Gibson's acting, and then how he decides to help is like, 2 days ago, I saw a tanker that could haul that gasoline. You need a way to get out of here? You talk to me. Just great stuff. Brian May returns to do the score. I love his score in this. It improves upon Mad Max. It's just like dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Great chase music, and it just gets you super pumped up and in the moment. Yeah, it's just the opposite of Mad Max, and it just evolves from Mad Max. Mad Max is a setup, and Road Warrior is the payoff to what Mad Max set up, and it really sets up this whole world for what the rest of this series follows. So yeah, check out The Road Warrior.